How's everyone doing? You guys excited? I'm excited. My name's Rosen-McGinnis, and that over there is my business partner and co-founder, Daniel Mattis. And we're extremely excited to kick off the Final Four of this year's Big Ideas competition and talk to you guys a little bit about Rebel Supplements. We're a health and wellness company specializing in the sports nutrition industry. We've been around for 2 years, and it's been a wild ride, to say the least. Allow me to highlight some noticeable accomplishments. Actually, we'll wait on that. Let me tell you guys how we got started. We were sick and tired of overpaying for low-quality pre-workouts. So we took matters into our own hands and created one from scratch at home. We sampled it out to our friends. They loved it, we loved it, but it tasted horrible. There was absolutely no flavor whatsoever. So we know we had something on our hands here, but we needed to figure out how are we gonna make this, how are we gonna actually sell a product like this? So we found a supplier who provided an amazing tasting product for us, and we put in an order. Next thing you know, we had 500 units of pina colada pre-workout shipped to our doorstep. We turned our vision into reality. Allow me to highlight some noticeable accomplishments since we split from our business partner. In the past 8 months, we've generated $13,000 in revenue. We successfully branched into 8 store locations. We've launched a new SKU, but most importantly, we've gained knowledge and experience competing in a very difficult and saturated market. Now, I want you guys to think for a second. What does the process look like from getting a supplement that you created into a store? It's essentially like selling ice to an Eskimo. You walk in the store, you look on the shelves, and you see 20 competitors in your same exact product category. Not only that, but behind the scenes, you have hundreds of other companies that are trying to get their brand on the shelves. They're calling the store. It's very competitive. But how did we do this? How did we succeed? Well, we have a great quality product. The same reason we were able to set up at Crunch Fitness, and within 6 hours, we sold 20 units of our product. The same exact reason that 6 out of 10 people who tried a full serving before they went to work out came back and bought the product. This is all good news. So what's the issue here? Well, the issue is that we are facing companies, we are up against our competitors, are spending millions of dollars on advertising every single month. Now, we're not ones to make excuses or shy away from a challenge. So I leveraged my time and my connections at the University of Florida, built a team of 10 bright and talented individuals to help us run operations. This allowed Daniel and I to focus on the most important task at hand, maximizing our brand's potential. 85% of US adults consume the caffeine equivalent of 12 ounces of coffee per day. 3 in 4 start each day off with it, and 1 in 4 say they can't live without it. Caffeine has been ingested for thousands of years. Civilization loves it, and there's no sign of slowing down. Is there a way to improve? Well, traditional energy powders and energy beverages are inconvenient and messy, especially for on-the-go consumption. If you're moving, if you're getting in a car, if you're going somewhere, you need to move fast. They also contain a ton of artificial flavors, sweeteners, and sugars which compromise the taste and health of the product. And for your average consumer, they're not that affordable. $5 here, $5 there, it adds up. Is there a well-rounded, simple solution to address these problems? And the answer is yes, there is. Introducing Rebels energy pouches. A convenient, effective, and affordable way to enjoy your caffeine. Simply take out a pouch, place it in your upper or lower lip, and wait 10 to 15 minutes before the effects kick in. Now, one singular pouch tin that's going around contains 15 servings, the caffeine and nootropic equivalent to 7 to 8 energy drinks and 10 to 12 cups of coffee. You get all of this in a singular can for the price of $10, providing immense value to the consumer. But before I continue to talk about the pouches, I would like to share a little bit of a backstory to how we even got here from powders. In the beginning of the year, we were searching for a more untapped market where we can transfer our expertise to, and we discovered pouches. The only issue is that it took weeks and weeks on end to find a singular supplier, something that we were not familiar with in the powder business. Once we found the supplier, you best believe we had everything ready to go and produce our pouches. But we kept finding ourselves questioning the integrity of this guy, the character of this manufacturer. And if we've learned one thing, it's not to go into business with someone you don't like. So we put a pin in it. Fast forward to earlier this month, we had to submit our initial business plan for the Big Ideas competition. But here's where the unexpected happened. Just last week, I was on a phone call with a family member of mine who runs a successful business out in California. I was talking to him seeking general business advice when he posed the question, Aiden, what other products do you want to bring to market? So I started talking to him about pouches. And then he dropped a nuclear bomb on my forehead. He casually mentioned, that the best man at his wedding, his lifelong friend, is the only other co-packer in the entire United States that can produce these pouches. The only one. There's 2 in the entire United States that can manufacture these pouches, these energy pouches we want to produce. What are the chances of that? So immediately after we found this out, he added him to the call and we spoke for over an hour, nailing down all the logistics, getting quotes, figuring out our COGS. How could we go and produce these products as soon as possible? Now this was great news for us, but it left us scrambling last minute to submit our final business plan that you guys have probably read through or have in front of you. So I want to apologize for any discrepancies between what's in the plan and what I'm presenting today. I also want to hit a little bit more on our co-packer. We were extremely fortunate to land him as a manufacturer, but we also shot for the stars and ended up landing him as an advisor too. Now you may be asking yourself, why is this important? You know, advisors, that's good for business advice. But he has his own pouch company in the cannabis space, and he's in 6,000 stores nationwide. And when we were on Zoom with him, he showed us something that blew our mind. He pulled up his Amazon analytics, and he was doing $50,000 a month in revenue with 0 ad spend. But this wasn't the product he had nationwide. He had to alter a lot of stuff to put it on Amazon because they have their rules and regulations. So they are essentially flavored pouches, nothing but flavor, absolutely nothing. And when he was running ads, he was achieving a 4.54 return on ad spend. So for every dollar he put into Amazon, he was generating $4.54 of revenue from Amazon. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, if he has a pouch company in the cannabis space, who are we competing against? Who's our competition? And there's really only 2 of any significance, Nectar and Alpha Fuel. I don't know if you guys can see back there, but we've included their product ratings, 3.6 and 3.7 stars. Would any of you guys personally buy anything on Amazon and put it in your mouth with those ratings? I don't think so. But despite this, they were able to successfully generate $300,000 in revenue between the 2. All of these bad reviews, there are 2 major pain points. The first being people report a chemical burn or bad aftertaste, and this is due to the pungent and potent artificial flavors and sweeteners that these pouches use. Additionally, people report that they just don't feel anything, and this is because they're significantly underdosed. Red is bad, green is good. We're on the right, they're on the left. We provide a superior quality product in every which way. But there's one more thing. The smokeless tobacco market in the US alone is a $5 billion a year market. In addition to that, nicotine pouches boast a 33.6% compounded annual growth rate, with half of these users reporting at least one attempt to quit. So not only are we able to tap into the caffeine market, but we're also able to tap into the tobacco market, two of the most lucrative markets in the entire world, and bring it into one product. Our average consumer is going to be someone who is focused on productivity, health, wellness, that requires high performance for long hours. They're also going to be former tobacco and nicotine users, and some even current that are transitioning off. Our business model is fairly straightforward, generating, and we will generate $4.25 of profit per unit sold on Amazon. Will be sold in 1, 3, and 5 packs with a medium-term focus on landing as many wholesale accounts as we can. Whether this is big box retailers, gas stations, Target, Walmart, like you name it. And we already have a consensus established from the supplement stores that we're in, saying we would take this product on. We have nothing like it. It's novel. Because what I didn't mention to you about the two competitors is they're only on Amazon. No one in the caffeine that's doing caffeine pouches has even tapped into the storefront. Some noticeable highlights are 47% profit margins after Amazon fees, a conservative 3 times return on ad spend for our targeted ad campaigns, and a projected $550,000 in revenue within the first 12 months. But this could be the solution. This is the solution to our problem. We know we have good quality products, but they're lacking the exposure that they need. So why not kill 2 birds here with 1 stone? Why not take a product that we know we can put on the map, but the product will also put us on the map, maximizing our brand potential? What does this look like? Well, this is a complete Amazon and retail takeover with all of our products, current and future, being sold in every possible sales channel that they can. And within 5 to 10 years, we have our eyes set on big goals. We are looking for a $1 billion exit. And you guys are probably thinking, wow, that's a huge number. And it is. And you might be thinking it's unrealistic, but we know we can do it. And here's why. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the bottom left Zyn nicotine pouches. 2 years ago, they were acquired by Philip Morris International, Big Tobacco, for $16 billion. And we're going to do the same thing with caffeine. But we are 2 broke college-age students, and that's why we entered this competition. We are seeking a $50,000 investment, offering investors a 50 cents per unit until repayment of the $50,000, and then 10 cents per unit in perpetuity. This will allow us to successfully launch 3 SKUs, 5,000 units per SKU, with the remainder of the money going towards Amazon ads and anything affiliated with Amazon costs, influencers, and other miscellaneous expenses. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity to present today, and I'm excited to answer some of your questions.
Judges, 15 minutes of Q&A, judges only.
What's your net profit with all expenses, just not the Amazon expenses?
Net profit, well, we based our business model initially for the first 12 months, we projected a Amazon-only approach. Afterwards, the margins would drop slightly to account for wholesale and retailers, but total profit without, are you talking without Amazon?
Well, I'm talking about your manufacturing cost, all that.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, of course.
That stuff, what's left?
Yeah, it will cost us around $2.75 per unit to produce. That's our COGS. And at scale, we anticipate this dropping a bit. But I would say we sell for an estimated of $9, because if we are going to do a 1, 3, and 5 bundle, $10 for a single unit, $9 for a 3-pack per unit, and then $8 for a 5-pack per unit. So it averages out to $9 a unit. So whatever channel we go, we have some wiggle room to play with margins.
So that $4.25 you said was in profit. That's accounting for your cost of goods sold, the Amazon costs, and your administrative costs, your salaries, office people's salaries, sales, etc., all that?
Well, yes, considering that at this current moment, we are looking to do everything.
Well, that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable over time. So you've got to include some G&A and corporate costs in what your profit margin is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Yeah, just crunch the numbers based on.
I think that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
If we can get salespeople, marketing, more CEOs.
Can you talk a little bit more about a very competitive market, which you had mentioned?
Yeah.
And a lot of high turnover. How are you thinking about your proprietary nature of your product that would allow it to have some type of barrier of entry or competitive sustainability of it?
Or our pouches?
Pouches.
Oh.
It seems like you're putting pouches as your product hero. It sounds like
Yes.
that true?
Yes, we're continuing. You want to speak on the gummies and the powder that we're continuing? And
Yeah, so we have a few novel products, or actually one other in mind. Now, if you are referring to the pouches, now it is already a very undeveloped market in the space right now. And kind of like we mentioned earlier in the presentation, these novel products haven't even tapped into their full potential, which is going the big retail route. And so the biggest way we definitely differentiate ourselves in terms of our competitors is this right here. So huge market, except the horrible ratings. Why do these people keep buying these products even when the ratings are so bad? It's because there's a huge market out there for people that are trying to quit dip, and they have no other choice but to buy those products. And why quit an unhealthy habit just to go right into another? I mean, artificial flavors, sweeteners, you name it. We won't have any of that.
as far as the ability to produce this product, there's 2 co-packers. You could, at a way higher MOQ, go over to Sweden to produce pouches, but none of them touch monk fruit and stevia. We're 100% natural, our product, which differentiates us from every single product like ours on the market. It drives the COGS up a bit, but it's something we're willing to do because we want to keep providing quality products. You know, especially if you're putting something in your mouth, you don't want, like, that's the last thing I'd want to hear is a chemical burn, this and that. And a lot of the current pouches on the market use a blend of like cellulose it's like a filler, it's like a binder because the pouch doesn't dissolve. Our supplier actually has a patented coconut fiber technology, so it just adds to the natural aspect of it. So we want
to be unique to you?
Yes, producing with him, yes.
But on that, Nectar, Zyn, which is Phil Morris, Alpha Fuel, your co-packer, the other co-packer, what keeps any of them from just taking that red and green table you just did and making all theirs green?
Perfect, yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. And so our co-packer has made it very clear that he doesn't want to dive into this space because he's focused on his cannabis pouches, and then he also, since he has a manufacturing facility, the machines are around 4 million, so a lot of people don't do it. He is doing some white label for others. But to answer your question, if we started blowing up and he was like, okay, I want to do this for my product, right? I mean, that is possible, but at that point, we've had enough data and enough traction. If we get to that point to upset someone that can do hundreds of thousands of units of cans, which he has capacity for, and he's taking on another machine, if we get to that point, we know we have something hard, and that's just, I guess, another pitch, another time for another round of investors.
Another thing I want to mention to alleviate your concern is we've looked into the market and we've looked into suppliers, even ones that are out in Europe. Nobody, that's why we have that second bullet point there. Nobody has been able to successfully pull off a pouch that is naturally sweetened with monk fruit and with no artificial sweeteners. Nobody has done it. And when we were dealing with the first supplier that we told you we didn't end up going through with, he was trying to do the same thing for us. But it was proving to be a very difficult task for him.
Because as you can see here on the right, we have a lot more active ingredients in a tiny little pouch. I don't know if you have the actual pouches in, open it. So it's a challenge. We're working with our manufacturer. We're doing R&D with these pouches to just get them airtight, because if we can deliver this, I mean, it really hasn't been done.
So do you have any trademarks or patents on what you're trying to do with these pouches?
So we have trademarks in place, and if we're going to launch these under our brand, which is what we're anticipating to do, we could have a separate company formed for liability reasons and license out our trademark that we currently have. But in terms of the patents, there's nothing like that. Nothing like that is really needed, just because
we fall into the realm of dietary supplements. So you can't patent, like for our pre-workout powder, our competitor, if they really wanted to, they could say, wow, that's a great formula. I'm gonna take it to my flavor house and we're gonna take their formula and run with it. But most don't, because the margins on our pre-workout alone are our COGS are up. Even at scale, our COGS are above a lot of the competition. And why do they care about providing quality if they're gonna make an extra 10, 50 million? That's how we had to enter differently. So yeah, there's always a threat of that, and we're getting formal agreements in place as we speak. We already have a documented letter. And
I'm still trying to understand the customer, because is it the workout, like going to Gainesville Up Fitness, or you said it's someone who used to smoke or does smoke or does nicotine?
Great question.
Really
I can see why you'd be confused, because we've established that we're in the sports nutrition market, which is exactly as we intended to start. But now, these can be used by anyone.
Who is your customer? I know it can be, but who are you marketing? Targeting?
Right now, so one thing I want to mention that we didn't even have in our presentation is the easiest way in the short term for us to market and sell and scale this product immediately is to run the advertising campaigns on Amazon and target the other competitors. That's the same thing our co-packer did with the flavored pouches that literally have no ingredients.
But it's nicotine. Is it smoke?
It's such a wide market. For example, if we're targeting something and we're able to piggyback off who they're, it could be a firefighter, it can be a teacher, it can be a lawyer. It's a wide variety, especially when we're dealing in the online space. Whoever we advertise or piggyback off of, if they're buying, that's our customer.
Let me change it. Where's their use case? What is the customer's use case? Why are they buying your product?
Why are they buying our product? Because it's extremely convenient. You're in the library, you don't want to go up to get Starbucks, you pop one out.
Looking for caffeine or nicotine?
Caffeine. Only caffeine. No nicotine.
Nicotine free completely.
To your point, caffeine for workouts or caffeine for those coming off of a nicotine habit?
Caffeine for studying, caffeine for doing work, caffeine if you want to have it before the gym. Caffeine, anytime you could replace a coffee, an energy drink, it's not catered to have the pump ingredients and the other ingredients. We have 18 grams of active in our pre-workout formula. It's not going to deliver the same performance benefits, but essentially it's replacing a beverage on the go, an energy drink, a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's like
What are your ads going to say to entice a customer that you're trying to get?
Great question. So on Amazon, you don't use any, sorry, did you have more that you wanted to say? Okay. You don't use, you don't structure ad creatives, which we've done before, not clients. You don't structure ad creatives because you target based on keywords. So your whole advertisement space, your real estate on there of what is going to convert a customer is simply going to come down to your listing. If you have A+ content, which is like, you know, the advanced stuff that they're not putting on there, and we know how to do all that, of course, and how well is it going to be presented in the listing itself. That is your ad creative, essentially. And we didn't even, you know, we didn't talk about, like, for example, TikTok Shop, as I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with, has been gaining immense traction recently. There are companies that are completely selling out, and go ahead and
We couldn't derive the analytics from this brand right here, from when they sell on TikTok, but we understand their creator is very vocal about, you know, how much money he makes on social media. It could be a complete lie, yes, whatever, but we think that they're making more than both of them combined. It's total marketing. He's sending it out to influencers. It's very cheap. We can't send, if our COGS on that are around 20 versus our COGS are around $2.75, it's easier to get this product in influencers' hands. It's easier for them to make a video that gets 1 million views and then we're sold out. That stuff happens now. That stuff is a big thing, especially in this space.
So you're saying basically your keywords are matching these people's keywords?
Exactly.
So it doesn't really matter, whatever they're targeting, you're targeting. Is that basically?
And we're going to do it better, and that's why they're going to use us.
So here's the beautiful part about this. We actually have, we're speaking to a potential advisor about this that's very familiar in how Amazon works. Amazon has a very sophisticated AI system that they use now that you're able to tap into an audience that a competitor's product has very, very well. So we are going to capitalize on that. And the beautiful part about not being first to market is we actually have an advantage here. And it's for that reason.
We're not creating this space. We're not creating and spending money that we frankly don't have to try and find the people. These guys have spent that money, and we can use, like we just explained, sort of target that exact audience that's buying these.
30-second question for you.
Go for
The pouch thing there, what's the shelf life on it? Does it need to be refrigerated like general, or is it shelf stable? And then 3, if the pouches do well, are you going to abandon the other stuff and just proceed on the pouches? Or?
So, first part question, shelf life's around 2 years. Second part of the question is, are we going to abandon?
Second is, do they need to be refrigerated?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely zero refrigeration. And third part, it depends. We don't want to, I mean, what we've gotten to this point is generating boots on the ground, shaking hands, getting stores, selling in person, but that's not feasible in the long run. If we're able to execute this correctly and we're generating 1,000 times more than we ever have done with powder, with pouches, hopefully that drives back to our brand and people understand we have good quality powders at the same price. But if it's really doing that good, we'd have no issue with just pursuing it and becoming the absolute best in growing and scaling and dominating. So,
I think you got a minute and a half, unofficial time. So, I understand you put on Amazon, you have a better product, Amazon pushes it, I get that. There's 2 people that do it this way, you said, co-packers?
Yes.
One of them, the one you're talking to, has a patent on it, I think you said?
That's ours.
Do we know how the other one is able to do that then? They have a different process? Is that process?
No,
They don't have any sorts of patents whatsoever. They just manufacture it at scale.
Okay, so you're saying that if you get a deal with the one that has the patent process and you get big enough quickly, that you won't get crushed by all the other people that could do it with either one of these 2 co-packers?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. Yes.
Final, very quick question. Are you sure it's safe to triple the caffeine content over everybody else that's in there?
So the average cup of coffee is between 60 and 90 milligrams of caffeine. We wanted to target right in between there, so we thought it was a safe bet. There's some people.
Yeah, and another reason for this is, it's just like with energy drinks. If you're alluding to the fact that maybe someone can put too many in, yes, that's possible. But someone could drink way too many cups of coffee and be jittered out of their mind, and so.
They are in child-resistant cans as well. It's not.
Put a warning on it saying.
Yeah, we have a supplement disclaimer on there as well with energy drinks. But.
we hope so. We still have a prototype somewhere, and we did this because the 75 milligrams of caffeine was a huge complaint. People are like, this doesn't do anything. It's supposed to be a nootropic enhancing product. That's what they're advertising as. for studying, again, we've already went over this, all the versatile uses for this, it does nothing. But from firsthand experience, when we got our samples, we know the product takes effect, and we've tried all the other competitors. Like, you actually feel something from this. Guys, thank you very much.
Feel free to do so. We're going to transition to our next